Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are, ladies, gentlemen, whoever you happen to be, or whatever you happen to be. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, brought to you here on multiple platforms again. I think we're getting this thing down by the folks, some of the folks at Nerd Caliber. I am Rodney Brown. I'm the editor in chief of Nerd Caliber. Joining me tonight is my brother in baldness.
Woo!
Looking smooth there, man.
Thank you,
Introduce
sir.
yourself, Byron.
Hello, Byron McNeil, aka Byron D0, contributing writer and overall content creator for Nerd Caliber. Um, I do reviews for games and movies for the site. I also cover various aspects of conventions for them as well. Um, and I have a bunch of other projects all scattered throughout the interwebs that I need to get back on top of. But I'm here tonight for Nerd News. Let's do this.
Nerd
Yeah.
news. Boy, do we have a lot of people already in the chat in YouTube, particularly in advance, because that's where most people know we're live. So Freddie plays hello. As Gemias Babakas. I butchered that. I'm sorry. Hello, Sophia. Hello. Imagine Yoshi. Hello, Cameron. Hello. Welcome to the show. Joseline Toledo. Hello. Mehdi Mehub. Hello. Wallace Free Fire Adrian. Hello. And everybody's saying hello to each other. Brady, hello. Welcome back to the show. Ruby, hello. Ruby Fields, 0 points, hello. And Hanan, hello. Gosh, Wolfie, hello. I'm gonna run out of show here. Elena, hello. And there we go. All right, I think that's everybody. Well, that's everybody there. Now that we're multi-platform, we don't have anybody on Twitch yet, and Facebook Live. Ty, hello, welcome to the show.
I was gonna say we have
Um,
two.
and Ty has news, so we're gonna tell Ty's news. The Godzilla convention has been canceled. No G Fest 2020. When and
Ah,
where was that supposed to take place, Ty? Before we get into our stuff, um, we got a lot of question marks here, folks. Um, what happens? Start and so on. Are we not? Are you not seeing us? I'm seeing us in all of the various platforms we're on. My voice is apparently loud enough, according to my VU meters. Um, Jabo, welcome to the show on Facebook Live.
oh, we have an update on on G Fest. It was supposed to be in Chicago in July.
Ah, wow. So, well, I guess I shouldn't say wow. Otakon was in August, and they canceled. Well, end of July, 1st of August, and they canceled quite a while ago. So, yeah. Well, getting on to other news. Ooh, well, there's more chat even there. Paul, hello, welcome to the show. Uh, so you're doing a pretty good job of staying on the Facebook Live stuff, Byron. I'm going to let you stay with that mostly because it doesn't automatically flow for me, and I'll try to hit the
Right.
other ones. Um,
Sounds good.
so first up on our show tonight, the first topic is not that person. That's our slideshow. There we go. That is the Amazing Billy Porter, and the reason the Amazing Billy Porter is right up there in your face is because he is in the new trailer for the season 2 of the Twilight Zone. It just dropped a little while ago. It is. It looks amazing. Dare I say, maybe looks better than the first one. The cast. I mean, the first season, the cast was really solid. This season, it's outstanding. Um, you've got Chris Maloney, Gretchen Mol, Morena Baccarin, Jenna Elfman, Topher Grace, the wonderful Tony Hale. Thank God Tony Hale's in something again. Jillian Jacobs, David Krumholtz, of course, Billy Porter, as we see, Journey Smollett, Damon Wayans Jr. Just a wonderful looking cast. Interesting sort of overarching concept this time, seeming to be kind of about identity, which Jordan Peele has touched on
Absolutely.
occasion. So it looks really good. If you haven't seen it, check it out. What do we think, Byron?
Um, well, I actually haven't seen the first season of it yet. Just because of the platform that it's on, CBS All Access is just one of those things. Like I have it, but I rarely use it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, other than the Star Trek shows, honestly, I've only seen about half of the first season of Twilight Zone. I liked it. I didn't love it. Um,
I hear that a lot.
yeah, and it's looking like just based on the trailer, maybe some of that has changed. It looks like if I were to give a critique, it's almost like the first season, Jordan Peele kind of applied the slow burn concept that works really well in his movies to each individual episode. Um, and I don't think that worked quite as well. I think you need to be a little bit more involved in the story. Plus, a lot of the characters aren't really terribly sympathetic. Um, so you're kind of looking at, oh, what's going to happen to this person? Maybe it'll be awful, and that'll be good. And I don't like that kind of way of looking at a show. Um, Personal opinion. Unless it's done amazingly well. There's sometimes when it's like, yep, I'm going to watch through this whole thing just to see, Joe Exotic wind up in prison. Um, so, spoiler alert, as if you don't already know that, everybody. So yeah, I'm sort of with you. I watch a lot more CBS All Access again because of the Star Trek stuff, and I've watched some of the shows from Human Target. God, go watch that, Byron. If you haven't watched Human Target, find that on CBS All Access and watch it.
Well, you got plenty of time, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, don't we all? But anyway, yeah, it looks really good. Looking here, when the next season is gonna hit us. Um, and I don't know that it says in here. It probably said in the trailer, and I didn't think to look as I was watching it. Um, but I'm guessing. Oh, here we go, June 25th. So not
Oh,
that long, month and a half, folks.
getting close.
Coming up close. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Um, and on to our next topic. This one, since Byron dropped this, I'm assuming Byron has a few things to say about this.
Oh yeah.
But that is a look at the upcoming game, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered. And it's going to be a single game, so they're putting Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 into one larger remastered game with different content and so on. But wow, does it look sharp.
It
Uh,
does.
Byron, what do we think?
Well, like you said, it does look sharp. I'm love. Um, I said in the group that it's a total hail mary because I don't know how well you've been following the franchise in recent years, but there have been quite a few missteps. Like it was doing fine up until like they started implementing peripherals and whatnot, and the whole Wii debacle, and then Pro Skater 5 happened, and oh boy, was that a big stinkeroo. Um, so I don't know what Activision is going to do with the IP if they don't get this right. But here's hoping they do. I mean, that's the thing about hitting rock bottom though. Only way you can go is up.
That is true. And apparently, from what I read in the article, so you can look at this screenshot and you can see that they, obviously jacked the graphics way, way up. And these are modern graphics. They've redone all of the graphics, but they said they took extra pains to make sure that they mapped all of the previous pathways and things that you can ride on to exactly match what the new assets are. So nobody's going to wind up, um, uh, you know, doing something that they weren't used to from the previous game. They're trying to match previous gameplay as close as they can, and games 1 and 2 were really good and really popular.
Yes.
Um, Now they've said they've added some stuff, so who knows whether or not that's going to wind up being as good as what they're remastering. But it sounds like this is really very much specifically a remaster and not quite so much like the Resident Evil games are kind of a remake as more than they are a remaster. Because gameplay changes a little bit, the environment changes a little bit. Here, it sounds like the environments are the same; they just look a lot better. Gameplay is essentially the same, although they've added a few new moves, according to the article. I don't know. Now, mind you, it's not a first-person shooter or an MMORPG or an RPG, so I don't play this, never have. But I know a lot of people who do, and who are.
I played the hell out of it back in the day.
Yeah, and a lot of people are in your camp, man. They're like, boy, I wish this washes the taste of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 out of my mouth. Because I guess that sucked.
It did.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
But, so we've got Vicarious Visions, which made Crash Bandicoot Insane, is going to be doing the game. It will be out on the Epic Game Store. Okay. September 4th. So,
Ooh.
Hey, Labor Day weekend, folks.
I mean, we'll probably be spinning it inside anyway.
From the looks of things, that seems to be the case. So, check it out. Get your game on. I was going to say some sort of skater terminology, but realistically, all I know comes from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So,
Do a thing on the rail.
Exactly. All right, moving on to the next one. This is, you got to be a pretty serious comic book nerd to get this and know what that image is. Hold on a second. Let me back up. We want 0 points says we want Boba Fett, and it says starting soon for me. I don't know what to tell you. 0 points. We're jump over to Facebook Live, facebook.com/nerdcaliber. Oh, you're good now. All right, good, awesome, very cool. So the image that popped up there is from the Vertigo Comics sort of indie comic. Sweet Tooth, not to be confused with the crazy, insane, murderous clown Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth is the story of this deer boy, he's the one in the middle, in a post-apocalyptic world who leaves his forest and discovers that there are all kinds of other interesting people, humans, human-animal hybrids, and he makes a bunch of friends, and they wind up sort of discovering, what this new normal post-apocalyptic world is all about. Rodimus Primal, hello, how have you guys been? Pretty much the same as everybody. Knock wood, not infected. So I think that's the most important thing. But yeah, about the same. Anyway, the news here is that Netflix is making a series of this comic book Sweet Tooth. It's going to be a 10-episode series that is described as, and I get a kick out of this, broad appeal, family-friendly storybook adventure. And I got the impression that it was a little darker than that, but maybe not. I haven't read the comic, in all disclosure, full disclosure.
Neither have I.
Yeah. But what do you think about, a post-apocalyptic Animal Man kind of TV series?
Well, I mean, it depends on how far they commit with the aesthetic. Like I'm looking at images of it now, and I can see this getting very much into cringe, uncanny valley territory.
Yeah, it depends on how they do it, and that's one of the things. None of the articles that I've read say exactly what they're going to be doing here. None of them mention any animation studios. And all of the people that are associated with it so far, and those are... that's the wrong one. That's go back to Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk no, he's not associated with it. So first off, it's being made by Team Downey, which is Robert Downey Jr. and his wife Susan Downey's production company.
Oh.
Yeah. And so Christian Convery from the movie Beautiful Boy, Nonzo Anozi from The Laundromat, Adil Akhtar from Les Mis, and Will Forte from Everything are in it. Will Forte is the only one that I know who's done like voiceover work. So I'm assuming this is live action because there's nothing that says that it's not live action. There's nothing that says it's, this animation studio is working on it, blah, blah, blah. So, it's eight episodes, and it's 1 hour episodes. It's going to be 8 1 hour episodes.
So it probably won't be animated.
Yeah, very rarely do you see multiple episode animation shows that are each episode is an hour long. That's really rare.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see how they do the makeup effects and everything with this. It's got a lot of potential. With a lot of really good people behind it, and apparently it was in development at Hulu for a long time, for a couple of years.
Wow.
But Hulu, Disney, whatever, dropped it, and Netflix picked it up like immediately.
Well, I mean, they've got enough projects on their plate as is.
Well, they do, and so Disney and Hulu, I think, are still trying to figure out what they want to be. Now that Disney's essentially the only owner, it's a primary owner. There's still a few other owners in play, but Disney owns so much of a majority of it that it's a Disney property. That I think they're still trying to figure out what they want Hulu to be in their pantheon of Disney Plus, ESPN, Hulu, ABC. What goes where.
Well, I mean, honestly, from what I've seen of it, the way if Hulu had stuck to the original vision, it might have been a good look for that as opposed to say Disney Plus, because Hulu, like, all the R-rated stuff original content seems to be shifting towards Hulu as far as the Disney umbrella is concerned.
Yeah, that is true. It'll be interesting to see when so many of their announcements about what is coming is all Disney Plus, or whatever, and we're not seeing a lot of what's coming to Hulu. We're seeing a lot of what isn't, what they dropped, like so many of the animated shows that they originally were doing, the Marvel shows. Just Freddie Plays. You had a message here about Peppa Pig. It's hiding it, I guess, because of the term shaming. I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't answer it, but I'll actually show it and let anybody else comment if they want.
Peppa Pig's not really something that should... Peppa Pig and YouTube don't really go well together, so...
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, I wish you'd said that because I already showed it, so I should have hidden it. All right. And Rodimus Primal says, I hate Disney so much, they're taking over everything. Well, yes, they are. But
business,
they are
though.
Giving us gems like The Mandalorian, which we'll be getting into at the end of the show.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. So, no idea when this is happening. Apparently, James Brolin is also going to be in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wicked cool. All right, so moving on to our next topic. That is like the very first scene, or one of the very first scenes you see in the Last of Us 2 trailer. So we talked about this last week, that the trailer was going to drop basically the next day after they showed us the first few images. And it did. And it looks amazing. They're really setting up an awful lot of sadness. I mean, they really set it up that, Ellie breaks. That seems to be what happens here. Sorry, folks. I nicked my arm, and now I've got a little spot of blood. So how the heck did I do that while I'm on the radio or on the YouTubes? Anyway, so it looks like she breaks, and she kind of breaks bad a little bit. Gets kind of the rage out, and my guess is that's going to be the nature of the gameplay and the story. Is where do you ultimately fall down on where Ellie evolves into? Maybe a little bit like Mass Effect. Which particular path do you go down? Paragon or oh crap, what was the opposite of Paragon in the Mass Effect
Uh,
games? Anyway, somebody in the chat tell me what the opposite of the Paragons were in Mass Effect games. It's the path I always took, and I can't remember the name of it, so that's kind of stupid. Um, anyway, have you seen the trailer, Byron? What do you
I
think?
have not seen it yet, but I will definitely make it a point to watch it. It I've seen enough of it where I'm excited for it. I've got to actually beat the first game.
That would be a plus. Rodimus Primal says, I'm not a fan of Star Wars, so I really don't care that much for The Mandalorian, but it is a good show. It is an excellent show. I agree with you there. I'm not in your camp. I love Star Wars, but that everybody has their fandoms that they're really into, and I'm into a whole bunch of the science fiction ones, so that's cool. Um, But anyway, the trailer looks really amazing. It's coming out June 19th. Of course, its initial launch will be on the PS4. Have to wait for the PC port, but oh well. I rarely buy games. This is me being a cheap old man. I rarely buy games brand new anyway. So
Fair enough.
might change my stance there with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. No.
Very nice.
Just because Vikings. But anyway, so our next topic. This looks, as a history nerd, which is one of the fandoms I'm deeply into, this looks really interesting. Not, beautiful woman with sword walking out of water. That also hits many of my fandoms. But the show that this is a screenshot from the upcoming Netflix show called Cursed, and it's based on a novel that came out last year of that title. That is a story of Nimue, the Celtic or Brythonic woman who is going to become the Lady of the Lake, the guardian of Excalibur, that ultimately gives it to Arthur in the Arthurian legend. And this is the 10-episode one. This is coming to Netflix as well. 10 episodes. It looks really good. The cast includes what's her name again? I should have just had it in my face, and I completely lost it. Katherine Langford. That's who that is. Katherine Langford is playing Nimue. Devon Terrell is going to be playing Arthur, and Gustaf Skarsgård from Vikings on History Channel is going to be playing Merlin. So I like it. I like the looks of it. I like the thought of it. I'm even suspending my historical accuracy problems that I have with a lot of these things because I like the fact that they're doing a different take on the story.
I was gonna say, I'm not as huge of a history buff, but I'm definitely an Arthurian legend buff, and I'm just like, so we're just gonna skip Uther Pendragon. Okay.
Well, no, and in fact, the villain of the piece is Uther.
All right.
So they don't skip that at all. I mean, it's definitely. It looks like they're trying to hit as much of the Arthurian legend as they can. So they've got Merlin. They've got Arthur. They've got Uther, who is described as a conquering king that is sort of the enemy that they're all fighting against. It looks pretty good. Even I would criticize that sword, but realistically, it's probably closer to, aside from the length of the handle, nobody had hand and a half swords at the time. But anyway, it's closer to the kind of sword that Excalibur probably would have been. A post-Roman transition to Viking era type sword.
Oh yes.
So yeah, I'm cool. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of good images out there, so go look it up. This article was on IO9 or Gizmodo, and go check it out. This has been in production for a while, apparently. So let's see if they tell us when we get to see this.
Soon, I hope.
I would hope so as well, but it doesn't seem to say. Yeah, we're not getting any. Yep. Sorry, folks. No timeline on when we get to see it, but it does look really cool. Um, so, sorry, folks. I'm getting confused with so many chats here. I have to go back and forth to all the different chats. Um, Rodimus Primal, how long are the episodes? Are you referring to the episodes of Cursed? If you are, it doesn't say, but I'm assuming it's a standard live action adaptation that Netflix does, which means it's 1 hour episodes like The Witcher and you know Game of Thrones ish, which always stretched their time because they were on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so moving on to our next topic, and that is this is a rumor. And it's a rumor that I really hope to be true. That is, of course, Cate Blanchett as Hela from Thor Ragnarok. The rumor is that Cate Blanchett is in talks to portray Lilith in the upcoming Borderlands adaptation.
Oh yes.
Yes, Queen, as they say. Uh, Single source rumor, coming from Variety, um, but the Lionsgate is making it. They said they had no comment, etc. Eli Roth is directing. So it looks, it's being the screenplay is current screenplay anyway is written by Craig Mazin, who wrote Chernobyl for HBO. So yeah. And in case anybody doesn't remember, if you don't play the game, this is Lilith. So that's the character that she's looking to portray. Very important character throughout the entire Borderlands franchise, including the most recent game.
Mm-hmm.
And she's what they call the Siren class, sort of psychokinetics, superhuman kind of powers. Very X-Men-y, I guess would be a good way to describe it. But it looks like this would be a no-brainer for anybody who was a fan of the franchise and of Cate Blanchett to put these two together. So
it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Let's have it done.
Make this happen. I will throw all the money I can towards this project.
Exactly. As the captain would say, make it so. Let me jump back real quickly here to see if I'm missing anything. Ty says, have you read Cursed? I didn't know about it. I haven't read the book. Greg's not on. He's our big book reader. I haven't asked him about it, so we'd have to see whether or not... boy, we're going back for a while here. 23 minutes ago. Okay, yeah. Ty asked if anybody here watched season 1. What other chats do you see on Twitch? Have I been missing anybody on Twitch? Oh, we don't have anybody chatting on Twitch right now. 311 people watching them. Okay, cool. Woohoo! All right, so moving on to our next topic, and that is this is I guess it is another rumor technically, and that is another wonderful badass female actor. That's Karen Gillan from Jumanji, or the second Jumanji. I can't remember where the screen grab was from. But the rumor is that Disney is looking at the possibility of Karen Gillan as the lead in their, and they've been planning this for a couple of years, reboot of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And I'm all for that. So I think the Pirates franchise has been played out, but it may be that it's been played out because of the people involved. What do you think, Byron? Do you think that the whole franchise is done, or do you think Depp is done?
Well, I just recently saw the fourth film, and this has come from someone who hated the bulk of the trilogy of the original trilogy. I feel like there's still some life in the franchise if they can still make a solid film. Like, I would definitely be on board for more as long as they keep the spirit of the first and fourth films, where it's just where they're not heroic pirates, they're just pirates. They have their own codes. They go their own way.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think um, uh, 2, 3, the drop off from 1 was pretty precipitous, and it just kept sliding really, you know, it wasn't like a dip and then a rise. It was just pretty much all the way down. I have not seen 4 myself, so
It's on Disney Plus.
it is, and I almost watched it the other day, choosing to rent not Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey instead. Um, but yeah, I like the idea. If they're gonna reboot it with different people and different lead characters. Tell new stories. I have no problem with stories being told in this world this Pirates of the Caribbean world that they've built. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like basically Black Sails, you know, which that was a whole TV series, but you're telling, you can tell, sort of like 2 hour long individual episodes, movies, with this franchise. There's enough depth there that depth, not depth. Let's make sure that I'm clear there. There's more than enough depth there. Let's put it that way. All right, folks. We're getting some pretty weird stuff here in the chat. Let's keep it on topic, or we're gonna start booting people. So yeah, let's keep that chat normal. Zero. If you say that phrase about what you just said about something being done to you one more time or anything like that, you're gone. None of that ever in our chat room. So be aware. This is on YouTube, folks. Thank God we don't have anybody on Twitch, actually, now that I think about it, because Twitch has zero filtration. Anyway, Ty is saying that he found an article that Karen would play a pirate. So there is speculation in the article I found, too, that not only would she play a pirate, she would play Red, who is a human active character in, what do they call them when people portray? There's a word in Disney,
Animatronics?
No. The Red is an actual physical person in costume in the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff at Disney. Okay. But there's even a term for it. It's not actor. They don't call them actors. They call them characters, or something like that.
Yes, characters.
Yeah. So
face characters.
Yeah, face characters. Yeah, Red is a face character in Disney, and that's one of the rumors I've seen in this article. But again, there's no confirmation from anybody that this is even something that's being talked to, or Karen is being talked to about this. I say Karen like she's my best friend. Karen Gillan is being talked to. So, who knows? Obviously, it would make sense if she's going to be the lead that she would be a pirate, because otherwise then it's, naval commanders of the Caribbean. That just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, we'll keep looking at this as it comes up. Fingers crossed that we get more information about this, because I would really like this to be something that happens. All right, folks, here it is. Here's what you've been waiting for.
Oh, yes.
The man, the myth, the metal, the boba, and just like hours ago, more casting news for The Mandalorian dropped around this topic. So stay tuned for that. So obviously what just popped up on your screen is, that's a screenshot of Boba Fett. The news is that Temuera Morrison, who played Jango Fett, but then also did the voice of Boba Fett in any of the follow-on animated works. And because they're all his clones, basically all the clones, or almost all the clones in the Clone Wars, particularly Rex, who's the most important one in the storyline anyway. So, yeah, he is going to be playing Boba Fett in Season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he actually takes his helmet off, because technically Boba Fett isn't a Mandalorian. So, and
Oh, because he's a clone, right?
well, yeah, he is a clone. He was, if you remember, the Clone Wars, uh, he was the clone made for Jango Fett to be his son,
Hmm.
to not be one of the vast clone army. So, so he is technically a clone. He's treated, but was treated by Jango as his son, uh, but he wears Mandalorian armor, which I believe he stole. Um, so I don't think he was technically a Mandalorian. It's the whole Mandalorian backstory and lore is insanely complicated, particularly with the Clone Wars series, which is pretty much the basis of the whole Mandalorian show. So somebody, correct me about that, or um, hold on, Freddie. Freddie. What should I leave? I don't know, Freddie. Why should you leave? What did you do? Um, oh yeah, just Freddie. I don't know what your Freddie plays. If that was a list of things you play, it looks like it's a list of things you're trying to sell. Don't know what that is. So, you just be careful about that. Um, you know, other than that, no reason no reason for you to hang around. Ooh, Freddie. I don't know if that's true. Freddie says Baby Yoda is a clone from Clone Wars. Um, that's a possibility. We haven't found out what Baby Yoda or the child or the asset or whatever we want to call it is.
Uh-huh.
All right, all right. Best theories. Freddie thinks it's a clone. Byron, you got a theory?
Not really. I'm really bad at Star Wars theories.
I don't think it's a clone because the timeline doesn't fit. You remember, the child, the Baby Yoda, whatever, is 50 years old.
Yes.
Um, so, well, we don't know when it would have been. Obviously, it would have been cloned while Yoda was still alive. Um, yeah, actually, you know what? The timeline may fit. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think that would be too easy. Um, and I'd like to see something a little bit more interesting, Freddy, than just a clone. Um, Rodimus Primal, do you know about Siren Head? Oh, the Siren Head. Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of the memes about that. I don't know enough about it to know and to talk about it. And it's not on topic, so um, afraid I can't fill you in on anything there. But so if you don't know, if you don't remember what Django looks like, what the design for Rex is, that's Temuera Morrison. You may recognize him as Tom Curry, Arthur Curry, Aquaman's dad, with major and pretty bad de-aging. I mean, Marvel can do this like falling off a log. Why can't DC de-age somebody properly? But anyway, he's a really amazing actor. He's been in a lot of really good things. I was looking through his IMDb profile to ensure that he did not, in fact, do any Boba Fett work prior to his voiceover work, and he didn't. That was Jeremy. Jeremy. I've met him at Super Mega Fest. Had a drink with him. Crap, can't remember his last name. Anyway, they have since, or Lucas since, retconned Morrison's voice into some of the voiceover in Empire. Lucas in the 2004 DVD release or whatever. So, but no, he did not portray Boba Fett prior to all of his voiceover work. But he did play Django, and Boba is a clone of Django, so it works.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But this blew my. He was in the unbelievably bizarre and terrible and awful Island of Dr. Moreau. Val Kilmer. Oh my God. He was one of the animal people, and go watch that. Because
I haven't watched that one. I
what's that, Byron? You cut off for a second there.
haven't watched that one in forever, so
Yeah,
I'll have to get back into that one.
yeah. I haven't either because why would you? It's
Fair.
now also in the IMDb listing, it states that he is in the Mandalorian episode 1, but that's all it lists him as. So maybe he's only in that one episode, or maybe they just don't want you to know that he's in more episodes, so they didn't put that information out there. So fingers crossed, it's more than just this, one sort of Easter egg appearance. I would like it to be more than that.
Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out eventually.
We will. We'll find out in October. Is supposedly all the actual filming finished before any lockdowns in early March, and all of the
Oh,
post production stuff is successfully, according to what I'm reading, being done remotely. So
excellent.
still on launch for an October 2020 release for season 2. All right. Related to that, up on your screen now is, of course, the wonderful Katee Sackhoff. And that just announced earlier today that Katee Sackhoff was going to be portraying in The Mandalorian, the live action version of the character she has been voicing for years in the Clone Wars, Bo-Katan. And if you don't know who Bo-Katan is, this is the character Bo-Katan. So, if you watch The Mandalorian, spoiler, if you haven't watched The Mandalorian, here's a big spoiler for the very end. Freddie, if you took off, all right, see you, Freddie. Glad you had at least as much of a good night as you did. Bo-Katan, so end of The Mandalorian, Moff Gideon gets out of a wrecked TIE fighter, and we see that spoiler, please, if you don't want to know the end, stop now. When you see my face next, it's okay to jump in. We'll give you a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. He gets out of a wrecked TIE fighter, and he's wielding the Darksaber, which is a
Yes.
straight-bladed, flat-bladed, black saber with glowing white edges. The person who had the dark saber the last time it was seen in canon is Bo-Katan, and that's the dark
Uh,
saber.
no. Actually, Sabine Wren was the last one in canon to have it in Rebels.
All right, okay.
Yes.
I thought that Bo-Katan had it in Rebels as well, based on what I read, but I haven't seen it, so I'll take your word for it.
All right. She was the
Um,
last one in Clone Wars to have it, though, I believe.
okay. So either way, yeah, because this article I'm reading here, it's like, how did Bo-Katan lose the dark saber? Um, Maybe the article isn't paying much attention to Rebels either. But in any event, she was a wielder of the dark saber.
Some people
So
tend to forget Rebels on purpose.
what's that?
Some people choose to forget Rebels.
Well, I know a lot of people think it's pretty good. Anyway, we're going to stop talking about the Mandalorian. So we're going to go back to us. And there. So anybody who had been hiding away because they didn't want to hear spoilers for season 1 of The Mandalorian, the ending, then we're back and we're not going to talk about that anymore. Um, all right. Oh, you know what? So you moved your camera slightly. Don't worry about it, Byron. But
All right.
I can see my hand twice. Look at that. Anyway.
All
Um, so Katee Sackhoff is going to be Bo-Katan in the upcoming season of The Mandalorian, which means we're probably going to get an explanation of something that happens at the end of season 1, or at least some more backstory about it. We're undoubtedly going to be getting a lot more of the war for Mandalore, which is referenced in, if you've seen any of The Mandalorian right at the beginning, obviously it shows scenes of his traumatic childhood, involved in some sort of military conflict as a baby. That was during the war for Mandalore.
my
So
only my only complaint about this is like, okay, so you got Katee Sackhoff to play to play a role that she made famous in animation, but they refused to cast Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka Tano.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to mention that as well. Um, and I was going to look this up. I didn't, so I'm going to do it right now. I know that obviously Katee Sackhoff has done a ton of live acting as well as voice work. Um, I know that other people who are involved. I don't know how much live acting work Ashley Eckstein has done.
That's fair.
Voice. Oh, she's done a
That's
ton
a
of
very good
voice work.
point, Lewis.
Avengers Assemble. Wow. She's done a ton of voice work. Um, so yeah, it looks like she's almost primarily. I don't know. She was in That's So Raven.
Hmm.
Muffy. Um, yeah, so she's been back in the mid to early 70s. She was apparently as a fairly young person in a bunch of live stuff. So she has done live acting. That sort of takes away my concern about whether or not she had the chops to do it. Um, so, so I don't really know why. Maybe it was her, um, not necessarily her choice, but she didn't have the time. Um,
It might be a matter of notoriety too.
that's true. Well, anybody who's a big fan of the franchise knows who she is. Um, she is also is she the one of the founders of Her Universe?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. So she's an entrepreneur and a if not a CEO or president, she's at least one of the founders of a pretty successful product brand company at this point. So, she just may not have the time. Um, or she got screwed over by Disney. I mean, it's possible. Um, Crash is back. Oh, Crash. Boba had to earn money to get his armor, and it's inconsistent as to if he bought one or made a sort of copy of one made from Durasteel. I thought, Crash, that one of the things was that his is not like proper Durasteel. Like he can't completely deflect blaster shots. It's tougher than like a stormtrooper's, but anyway, that might have been something I read and I don't remember. Crash also, the child could also be a child of Yaddle, the only other of Yoda's race we ever see. Good point. Who retired from the Jedi right before everything happened, including Order 66. So I'm thinking it's something like that. Like it's a secret love child, etc.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
I would love to see them actually give their race a name finally.
Yes, that's true. I would like to see that too. Although at this point, it would kind of be the sort of fan service as to where Han Solo's dice came from. Like, okay, great, but who cares? It doesn't really matter. I don't know if we said hello, Ella. I don't know how long you've been on the chat here, so if not, hello. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right, Crash. Mando's armor and a Mandalorian's armor, proper armor, is made from Beskar, not Durasteel. Good point. Glad you got that. You corrected me on that. Say hi to your mom for me. Sup? If you're not Mark Wahlberg, well, that's cool. If you are Mark Wahlberg, that's even cooler.
Yes.
So that is what we know so far about the Mandalorian season 2 casting. We've got Katee Sackhoff. We've got
Starbuck.
Starbuck. Oh my God. And I don't know what they're going to do in the new reboot of Battlestar Galactica with the Starbuck character. I can't think of any way you could make it more interesting than what they did in the most recent reboot. I mean, it was just, Katee Sackhoff killed it. They wrote it brilliantly. Ty says, I hope we get to see Fett's ship. Slave One. Yes. That would be awesome. Again, it would be, all kinds of fan service, but it would be appropriate fan service. You know, I don't know that we know what happened to it. He was on Tatooine when everything went down in Return of the Jedi, so one assumes his ship was ultimately wound up in Jabba or whoever succeeded Jabba's possession. But anyway, that's our show, folks. Hello. No, hello. Thank you. I said hello because Ella said I just jumped when he said my name. Thank you for joining. As you can see, I'm still kind of all over the place here. I got to figure out a way to combine all of our chats into one thing. Freddie Plays, does anybody think Disney is going to take Spider-Man? They've been trying really hard, Freddie.
Yeah.
And Sony ain't going to give it up. They made a deal now that seemingly everybody is happy with. They'll be happy with it for another few movies, and then something will go on, and there'll be another problem. I don't see, unless something goes wrong for Sony and they need the money. But right now, I mean, Disney's floating billion-dollar loans to be able to stay in business. So Sony ain't buying anybody for a while. They're just doing everything they can to stay afloat because of the coronavirus.
Yep.
Sony doesn't necessarily have the same problem because they don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of people at facilities, at resort facilities and so on all over the world. Disney does, or has to try to anyway. So, yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon. But anyway, that was a good question. Thank you. So, Byron, say goodnight. Bring us out.
Good night, everybody. Be good. Stay safe.
What he said. Be good. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Do all that stuff. Everybody,
wear masks.
Wear masks. Keep people my age safe, please. So, and we will see you next week. We've got some interesting new video stuff that went up on the on YouTube. Manny's been doing some really cool interviews with cosplayers, and so check those out. That's really nice
some stuff coming up on there too.
Yes. Byron's got one coming up. Yeah. Anyway, that's where our stuff is at. That on the website and so on. Again, there are no cons, so we're coming up with things that we can do and show you more about nerds and nerd culture out there. So we'll see you next week, folks. Stay safe. Enjoy the warming weather. And bye-bye.